What you need to build, manage, and operate your digital supply chain. Join your host in a timely discussion on new and future business models with industry-leading executives. The show will reveal global customer expectations, real-world deployment challenges, and the value of advanced business technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and robotic process engineering. And now, we bring you Digital Transformers.
Hello, everyone. Kevin L. Jackson here, and I am here to get the opportunity to interview yet another leader in digital transformation. And I tell you, this is really sweet to my heart, okay? Many of you may not know is I did a lot of work in the intelligence community around geospatial data, GPS. And this interview is really with Vanessa Wiener, right?
You got it right.
She had to give me some lessons there. IT SAP Operations Manager at TopCon Positioning System. And their company is all about GPS. Is that true?
GPS and some more, yes.
GPS and more. So you're a leading manufacturer in construction, geospatial, and agriculture. And known for being innovative and that enhances your technology, enhances workflows. Tell me more.
Yeah, well, you know, for example, in the construction world, you know, we are supporting and giving technology to our customers where they can visualize the construction site through, you know, sensors that are able to read the ground. The project managers don't have to be on site. You know, they can see it all through a screen and find out how much the dozers, the amount of dirt they're taking out, and they're tracking down, the activity of all their equipment and what's going on site. So that's one tiny example of the kind of technology.
I guess that actually reduces the cost because you can plan much better ahead.
Yeah, you can plan. You can determine the amount of dirt that you can recycle and take to other sites.
Oh, you recycle dirt?
Well, we don't recycle the dirt. You know, we help the customer to determine the amount of dirt they're extracting and then to take it to other sites.
They can make it take it to the site. So reuse the dirt. That's a really important thing. You see these big construction sites and you actually wonder, where does all the dirt go?
Yes.
No, that seems like a very important aspect that people wouldn't even think about.
Right.
But you've actually bring a lot of experience to leveraging SAP.
Right.
But what's your background to make you, IT operations for SAP? That's a huge responsibility.
It is. I have a great team, though. I have a team of 11, 12 between contractors and internal resources.
Yeah.
I started with SAP like 20 years ago. Not to disclose my age.
We can strike that. No, we're supposed to say that part.
Yeah. 20 or so years. I started as a user, essentially, and slowly transitioned to a leader position. And here I am, in charge of the ERP at TopCon, our main ERP, which is SAP, with all its modules to support the operation.
Wow, yeah. So you said which modules do you use at TopCon?
Yes. Well, I guess if our audience is a IT audience, they will understand if I just say SD, or do I need to say sales and distribution?
Yeah, you probably need to say sales and distribution, because a lot of my audience is a lot of decision makers, but in every industry vertical, not just IT also.
So sales and distribution, materials management, covers all the purchasing planning, production planning. We have quality management. FICO, we have finance and controlling.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm leaving any out, but that's warehouse management. I think I missed that one.
So you're using quite a bit of the suite.
Yes, of SAP, yes, quite a bit.
So you weren't involved in the implementation of SAP at TopCon, right?
No, I joined, I think, 5 years after they had implemented it,
How has it been when you got there? Were they pulling their hair out over SAP, or were they happy with it? Or Did you straighten them out? What was the culture
Well, I hope
around
I
SAP?
have been helping to making it better. It was already good, and
Okay.
people like it. I think SAP is, in my opinion, a good system to have, and to be running at in our case, manufacturing company. So it was already in a good state. I'm just helping to bring a little bit of structure on how we support it, right, and how we do other implementations or other projects related to SAP, right, to bring efficiency to the processes.
So a little more on your role, your operations.
Yes.
What does that encompass?
A lot, I guess.
Everything.
Everything. We're not a Google, obviously, right? So my team, I mentioned it was 12 or 11 people, so I'm not sure to the eyes of many if that's small or big, but we cover a lot, right? We do operations, means, we do the support, the daily support. If somebody cannot transact or there's an error message in the system, we are immediately reacting to it and fixing it. We do change management. We do, any enhancements or improvements to a process that requires a system change.
Right.
We also do that. And we do strategic projects, right? We implement new modules like quality management. That's a new one that we implemented maybe a year and a half ago or two. So that's a little bit of a description of what my role
What's
means.
your geographic scope of TopCon?
Well, I cover the ERP system in Netherlands, or Europe, a piece of Europe, and United States.
But TopCon itself is a global company?
It is a global company. Our parent company is based in Japan.
Okay.
But they have acquired subsidiaries across the globe, so it's about between 90, 93, 95 companies, subsidiaries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, top
So it is
positioning.
really huge.
It is big. It's about 5,000 employees.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's one of those companies you really never heard of, but it's foundational to just about everything, isn't it?
Yes.
You must like working there.
I do. The culture is also very nice. It's family oriented. They care about the employees, so I'm really enjoying it. And I have, like I said, I have a great team and a great boss. So
we'll make sure we'll make sure to get them a copy of this.
Please.
So, what is your real business model of TopCon? Who do you sell to? Who do you support?
Yeah, the customer base, I would say, it's also some, you wouldn't think of. Farmers, we have our dealers, there's a dealer base, but we have the end customer, which is the farmers who are actually using, the tractors on the field and they have to interact with the technology. In the construction base, as I was explaining earlier, we have those construction sites, or, if I tell my kids, because they're asking me like, what do you do, Mom? What do you do? We're, driving on the road and, I see those engineers, right, doing measurements with those tripods. And I tell you see that? That's what I do.
Yeah. Well, you never come home dirty.
Exactly, right? I'm not wearing the helmet. Yeah.
Wow, that's huge. And when you talk about culture, your parent company is Japanese.
Yes.
You cover the Netherlands and the United States.
Yes.
So I imagine culture, what the differences in culture, as an important aspect of your business.
Yes. We have, it's a multicultural company, right? As you mentioned, Japanese, now we have Europeans. And within Europe, we have a diversity, right? We have the Netherlands, we have Germany as well. They have another ERP system, but, we have different cultures. And then, in the United States by itself, it's already diverse, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, there's a lot of, forgot the word, inclusion. Right? Yes,
okay.
Yes, and diversity, right?
That's an important part of any business, diversity and inclusion and equity.
Yes. Diversity can, believe it or not, support on revenue as well.
Oh, but okay. Well, speaking about that, you said that you joined Topcon after they had already sort of implemented SAP.
Right.
But in your business, you work in sort of a different area. So what does digital transformation mean to you and in your business?
Well, for me in specific, I think it has two meanings.
Okay.
From a internal point of view, like I said, we drive the operation of the company where we have to, or part of my job as well, is try to find technology that will support the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now talking about transitioning from ECC to S/4HANA, right? That's a digital transformation for us where we are looking into bringing efficiency to a lot of the processes, right, that we are currently having. So that's an aspect of digital transformation. On the other hand, right, we also bring it is intentional. I don't know if the customer will see it that way.
Okay.
But we bring digital transformation to them, right? And let's go back to the example of the farmer.
Right.
Who would have thought that they can now, with sensors, scan, the field and find out if the crops are ready or they need more fertilizer, and now they're able to use that technology. So they, by themselves, are also in a digital transformation, right? Incorporating our products to their daily job.
So you threw out an acronym there, ECC. That is the previous version of SAP?
Yes.
So now you're transitioning from that to S/4HANA,
Right.
cloud-based.
Right.
Any issues with that?
Not yet.
Well, I mean, just getting started. A lot of people are scared to go to the cloud. I mean, I don't know about Topcon, but most companies have on-premise, keep all their data on-premise, and now going to the cloud. Did you have your own data centers, and now you're transitioning to the cloud?
Right, part of that, yes. We are already running part of our business in S/4HANA Cloud.
Uh-huh.
The portion that I am running right now is the one that is in transition, right, to go to the cloud.
Okay.
Yeah, so yes, there's still a lot of decisions to be made. We're in that process. I think we are now in a good place of understanding what that means, right? We have started a few activities internally, such as, cleaning our core ERP, trying to look into options for master data management, looking into options for archiving, everything that can prepare us, for a better journey to that transformation.
So in the end, it's all about the data, right? Mm-hmm. And you mentioned cleaning the data so that you can leverage it better in the cloud. That's a lot of hard work, isn't it?
It is.
And would not be scared to do that?
I think it's when you talk about it, it can be daunting, right? Like, oh my God, that's a big effort. We're not executing that exercise yet. We're planning to get there. Mm-hmm. But so far, again, with the research that you have to, start doing, you get to understand what steps you need to follow, right, to get there.
Oh, so it's a lot of education.
It's a lot of education
across your organization.
Yeah.
This is really change management. How did it affect your culture?
Well, I think we are in the process of learning, including change management, right? Everybody is, and again, that's where the transformation is happening, right? Because I think with a digital transformation, you have to have change management, right? Mm-hmm. You have to get your stakeholders involved so that they can support this. And we're in the process of, doing that. So how is it changing right now? I think we will see the change in the coming months or when the project is being executed, right? The efforts that we're doing right now to pull them in and to explain what this journey is about.
I imagine the executives are important to this. What is their role in your viewpoint?
Yeah, and in my point of view, everything starts from up, down, right?
Oh, so okay.
Yeah, so if they're not buying in, then it's not going to work. So I think, that's part of the transformation as well, having their buy-in and support the project.
And education, I guess.
Yes, and education. Yeah, there's a lot of education.
How do you do that?
Well, the approach that we're trying to do right now is socializing what this means. You know, bringing it to learning about tools ourselves, right?
Okay.
My team and myself, learning what's out there. SAP has been very helpful, right, in providing some of those tools so that we can start learning and also bringing our user base to experience that, right?
Oh, so this is really a journey. It's not just TopCon. You have to teach your customers.
Yeah.
How's that going? Is that easy? Is it easy for them to accept? Do you have to force it on them?
At this point, I guess the customer is not impacted, and I don't think that they were ever will, right?
Okay.
This is more a digital transformation internally for us to be able to deliver those products, you know, to the customer.
So, but there's a whole ecosystem around it, right? You have, I guess, suppliers,
right,
that you have to link to. Does it affect them in any way?
Potentially.
You laugh.
Yes. Yeah, because, you know, somehow they have to follow our journey, right? The technology, the evolution, you know, has to evolve. You know, the technology has to evolve. So, yes, absolutely, it's going to have an impact, and we will have to include them in this journey, right?
Okay, that's really important. And SAP is helping you with that. How do they help you? This is an important relationship to you.
It is. We started to have more often conversations, you know, what tools are out there. I am lucky to have a very good customer support. So they're helping us, you know, like I said, providing tools, links to information. There's a lot of reading that needs to happen. Yeah, but it's very useful so far. You know, it's they're helping us in the journey.
So are you working with an SAP partner in the journey and implementation and the
Not yet,
transition?
not at this point, not at the phase that we are in. We don't have a partner yet.
So what do you see as your journey? You know, what's next?
Well, we are in what we call like the first phase of the project, where we are preparing our system, preparing our people, preparing our teams to start that journey. So I guess the next step will actually execute it, right? To get into project mode and transition to the new technology, right? SAP to S/4HANA.
Well, great. So do you see this as a competitive move? Is it helping you, you know, clearly other companies in your industry are seeing this and wonder if it's something that they should do. But do you see it as something that's making you distinct within your industry? Or is it just something that you have to do?
A little bit of both, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. We have to transition to S/4HANA at some point. You know, the question is when, and I think the when for us is almost now, right? And we're doing that at this moment, right? We're planning on how to get there.
Okay. So if someone, another company is in a similar position, what would be your recommendations to them? I mean, you have, you know, a lot of experience with SAP, and many may be actually afraid of taking these big steps.
Yeah.
You know, what's your recommendation? How should a company look towards their journey in this digital transformation and SAP? I mean, it's
right.
What would you say?
I would say start doing research, start reaching out to your SAP account executive, asking questions. You know, what can they do for you? How can they help you? And again, it's a lot of reading, right? Understanding what the change means, what it will bring to your company, and also socializing it with your business stakeholders, because at the end of the day, you know, they have to be on board. They have to understand what the system is, how the system is going to change, and what the new system will bring. so that they can feel comfortable, right? It's not an easy journey especially when there's change. And that's a lot of work that needs to happen. I'm here, in Sapphire. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that.
No, absolutely, that's fine.
I'm here in Sapphire, and I'm trying. That's one of the ways of our company to support that we get more educated on, what's coming. You get to meet customers, other companies that have gone through the journey or are going through the journey.
Yeah.
And you sit down and listen and take notes and see what can work for our company and for our team, right? And try to apply it.
So it's really an education opportunity.
Oh, yeah, definitely it is.
So as you go through the journey and dealing with this ERP, digital transformation, how is it really affecting your other business processes?
Within the company?
Yeah, within the company.
Well, that's a part that you have to analyze, right? You have to understand where are your pain points and try to tackle those as much as possible before you start a journey, right? Because that's part of the preparation, not only system-wise, but also process-wise, where you have to check your old practices, what you used to do and you still doing. Is it, a better way to do it? Almost all the time there is a better way to do things. We just need to, be a little bit more open and understanding what can be changed to make it better. So it does impact the business processes.
Well, we're coming to the end. We don't have a lot of time, but one thing I'm very interested in sort of pulling the string on in this transition are templates. I mean, SAP talks about how they provide templates on industry best practice, but sometimes these templates aren't what you did before. They're different than what you did before.
Right.
And you have to, I guess, convince people to either change or, it's my way or the highway. Is that what you do? How do you get people to change?
Well, that's a lot of education, and I think it has to come from the top, right, and down, right, to support it. Not that they are the ones implementing the change, but to support it, to say, okay, we're going to follow best practices. We're going to follow the what the industry out there is doing whenever possible, right? Because every industry has their own, and companies, uniqueness, right? So Top Gun doesn't escape from that, right? We have our uniqueness, and we have to adapt to that uniqueness. But wherever we can apply best practices, then, that should be the direction, right? And then everybody needs to be on board to make it work. Otherwise, it will not work.
Great.
Yeah.
So as we come to a close, how can people learn more about TopCon and maybe even reach out to you?
Yes, I do have a LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
I guess that's the where to go. And of course, you can find Top Gun Solutions Positioning, in LinkedIn as well, and Top Gun PositioningSystems.com. You can find it there.
Did we miss anything? Any secrets?
No.
No secrets?
No secrets.
Well, thank you very much, Vanessa, for spending the time with us. And thank you for joining Digital Transformers once again and learning how the GPS industry is being changed, digitally changed from the viewpoint of ERP and SAP. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next Digital Transformers.
Thank you for supporting Digital Transformers and for being a part of our global Supply Chain Now community. Please check out all of our programming at supplychainnow.com. Make sure you subscribe to Digital Transformers anywhere you listen to or view the show, and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time on Digital Transformers.
to sort of start off, where are you from? I mean, I know you're from Korea, but there's a lot of places in Korea. I mean, I've been to Daegu and Gimpo, Gimhae,
Huh?
Seoul, but where are you from? And how did you get so interested in technology and entertainment?
I was born in South Korea, Seoul,
Uh huh.
but I grew up in Central America, Guatemala. My uncle lives there, and I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
learn, Spanish and I wanted to experience in a different life. So
Yeah.
I went there, and I went to the States for study 3D graphic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and now I'm working in Korea. I came back to Korea early 2000.
Tell me more about the history of A-Fun Interactive. And
Okay.
you're the CEO, right?
I started AFAN Interactive back in I think 2016.
Mm-hmm.
When the graphic card, GPU graphic card the performance was skyrocketing. So I felt like the singularity is coming, and really because it was like every year the spec was doubling,
Yeah.
which was amazing. So I was thinking, oh, everything, graphics will be, like will lots of 3D graphic will use GPU.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day we used to use CPU. You had to render
Mm-hmm.
each frames, but I guess everything will be like real time. The graphic specification was like it was amazing. So I started Fun Interactive in Korea, and I had a friend in LA. He used to work at Disney as an engineer.
Uh-huh.
So me and my co-founder, Mr. Han, so we started a real-time graphic studio in South Korea.
When you say real time, at that time, were you uh, thinking about just using devices, or you thinking about streaming and broadcasting, or was it more in line with gaming, or were you targeting esports, or is that all the same to you?
Actually, it was all same to me.
Uh huh.
So there's so we were like, oh, let's try to explore about real time graphic. We didn't know anything about real time graphics, so we
Mm-hmm.
had to use like different. We had to explore like Unreal Engine, Unity Engine, and there's lots of real time graphic softwares. So we started from there. But for me, I think when we started our company, we
Yeah.
honestly we didn't know how we are gonna use these technologies.
So you started the company and you position yourself as a real-time 3D content production studio. And if I got it right, your motto is making the impossible possible. So you just told me that, all of these different areas of entertainment, esports and video streaming, you see those all as sort of the same industry. Uh, who do you see as your competitors? I mean, how do you really discriminate yourself in the market? Because now, it seems like if you can think about it, you can do it.
Well, honestly, like I don't want to have any competitors. We're all partners. You know, partners. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Uh-huh. So we started as a tech company, but we we used to do lots of jobs for hire, like
Hmm.
car brands. You know, I don't know. We had to do all kind of jobs for hire using VR, AR. Any industry that we can use real time graphic. Yes, and right now we're making like our own contents, and it's entertainment. If people entertain our contents, then we're happy with it.
As you started creating these avatars and personalities, I understand you started basically your own marketing company, right? Is that what VV Entertainment or VV is?
Like exploring the technology side, right?
Right.
Then we wanted to create something by our own based on the technology we have. And so that's why we established the VV Entertainment. And VV Entertainment, the company itself is a virtual.
So what's driving you forward? Is it do the ideas drive the type of technology that you look for or use, or do you identify leading edge technology and then figure out unique ways of using that in the industry?
It's both, because we used to think we're a technology company, but we kind of realized that technology means nothing. For me, it's like technology is just chapstick, and the meal is to entertain people, make give joy to all the people who watch our contents. So we don't consider ourselves as a tech company anymore.
Yeah, but you're sitting right at the intersection of technology and entertainment. And even on your website, you call yourself a metaverse company, right?
Honestly, that's what people want us to be. We want to take the perfect balance between technology and humanity side.
So speaking about that balance, when I look at some of the products and avatars that you've created quite successfully, you have both sort of cartoonish and realistic virtual humans in your portfolio.
Hmm.
What different markets are you targeting with those?
Actually, when we started our company, we wanted to make the realistic human as we can,
Hmm.
and can interact, real time. So, and we're really focusing on making the real human. But at the end of the day, I was thinking, wow, there's a lot of prettier, like beautiful, real human out there. Why do I have
Yeah,
to focus on, realistic virtual human? And also, there's lots of celebrities, who got passed away or who wants to keep their, you know, early 20s in virtual. But
right,
but we don't own any intellectual property out of those existing human, right?
right.
So that, and we were thinking like, oh yeah, I think we should focus on some, you know, not realistic human, make something by our own that lasts forever.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's we right now. That's why we are focusing on more cartoonish character. But the in my point of view, the physical, the way they look doesn't really matter, because my favorite character in Toy Story is a
Uh-huh.
Forky. How they look, yeah. How they look doesn't matter at all.
So in fact, I mean, two of your virtual celebrities, Apoki and Lachat, they're at the top of the list of virtual influencers in Korea. Is that something that you expected?
No, actually, we didn't expect that, but I'm really glad that our two character placed top ranks. But
Hmm.
it's really ironic, because we didn't focus on technology. I mean, side. I mean, we could have made the contents better, but
Right.
we just we need to make people happy by watching our contents. That was our main focus.
That's great. And so, since you were sort of conquering the Korean audience, how about the global audience? Is it being appreciated by the global audience?
Yes, thankfully we there's lots of K-pop fans around the world.
Mm.
So we positioned her as a K-pop artist.
Uh huh.
So her global fans, they are from they have almost same demographic as K-pop, fan base.
So Pokey just released her first 2023 music video. By the way, I really like it.
Oh,
I
thank you
sent
so
it to
much.
I tell you, I sent it to my wife, and she said, "Wow, who is this? What's her name? Who's the singer in the back? Who's singing for this character?" And I said, "Well, I don't know if it's a real person or if it's a created uh, voice or persona." Are you at liberty to say?
I don't want to break your fantasy.
Okay, that's fine. This music video was a collaboration with Fila and Sony Honda. How did that come about? I really love the way the sort of juxtaposition of the technology of the virtual human and the technology of the car, and how the two personas, the car itself has a persona, were interacting with each other.
Actually, Apoki, we had a management deal with Sony Music Solution in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And when they released their Afila CES, I was very impressed. And LED screen on the grill, I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this is something next level. So I told them I want to use Afila on the music video.
Is this sort of a vision of the future? How should 3D content production technology influence automotive technology?
The car picture you're watching these days are 3D graphic. It doesn't
Mhm.
look like 3D graphic, but it's a graphic, right? But since GPU, the graphic card, 3D is getting faster and faster.
Yeah.
So 3D metaverse will merge into real world very quickly. Actually, it's merging really quickly though, and
Yeah.
I believe there will be no barrier between 3D virtual world and the world we're living in right now. She was doing collaboration with Tommy Hilfiger, Dolce and Gabbana. She's doing
Mm-hmm.
exactly what other singers doing right now.
So is that the future? Do you see that as the future growth for A-Fun Interactive? Is the metaverse a real thing? Many people, really are confused as to if it's real.
That's exactly the same as your daughter watching BTS on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's almost there's like I don't know, almost we have no barrier with virtual character and real celebrity. It's starting breaking down.
So where does the U.S. market fit into your plans? I know. Is that a big target for you? Are you going to? We're going to be hearing a lot more about A-Fun Interactive.
I hope so. And honestly, we never target any specific market so far.
Uh-huh.
We wanted to grow organically, but even though it takes like 20 years, our virtual character they never get old,
Right.
so we can keep emit energies, for 20 years. I think eventually, people will recognize her. And Poki is only just first pioneer of our virtual world. So we have our new system is coming out, and we're gonna launch 50 more new characters very soon.
Wow. Will I get to interview them?
Oh, of course, of course. And we're offering those characters to companies, so
Mm-hmm.
they can create contents without us. Let's say, so basically, like what you have to have is a web camera
Yeah.
and one gaming computer. Then and it captures everything, and you'll be able to create contents like a bookie by yourself.
That's going to really be a dramatic change across the industry, don't you think?
I hope so because if you think about like lots of characters in
Mm-hmm.
US, let's say GI Joe or Barrel Monkey, all those
Right.
characters. Imagine if they have their own SNS account and interact
Okay.
doing, you know, YouTube Live, Instagram Live with their fans, interacting. You know, those sleeping intellectual properties will wake up from their graves.
What else should my audience really know about A-Fun Interactive and the future of 3D content production and virtual
Well,
humans?
I can't predict any futures, but I think the
Hmm.
future is what we are making and believing. So, I want your audience and all people around the world, they want to enjoy contents we make. And, I
Yeah.
think like dividing contents by its 3D graphic, 2D graphic, or animation, I think for me, it doesn't really matters as long as, we can entertain, give joy to people. We're very happy with it.
Well, thank you very much. I would love to have opportunity to follow up and talk more as you release these more characters and as you expand. I'm really excited to see what comes next.
Thank you, sir. When the time comes, I'll make your own exclusive
Wow,
character. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome to Digital Transformers, the show that connects you with what you need to build, manage, and operate your digital supply chain. Join your host in a timely discussion on new and future business models with industry-leading executives. The show will reveal global customer expectations, real-world deployment challenges, and the value of advanced business technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and robotic process engineering. And now, we bring you Digital Transformers.
Hello, everyone. This is Kevin L. Jackson, and welcome to Digital Transformers on Supply Chain Now. On today's interview, I have the rare opportunity to talk about two of my favorite things, space and cloud computing, where we're going to find out why these things go together through an exciting conversation with Mr. Carl Horn, Vice President, Cloud Portfolio and Strategy at SES Satellites. Welcome to Digital Transformers, Carl.
Well, thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's a pleasure to speak with you and, by extension, your listeners and your viewers.
Oh, no. Thank you very much. SES Satellites, it may not be a household word to us here in the United States, but it has over 70 satellites in two different orbits. It was founded in 1985 and is Europe's first private satellite operator. Their goal is to combine satellite connectivity and ground infrastructure to deliver fast, reliable connectivity nearly anywhere in the world. I actually saw a video about some service you're providing to the Galapagos Island. The woman there that ran the hotel was saying she wouldn't have a business without SES. So Carl, however, is right here in the Washington, D.C. area, not far from me. In fact, they have a facility about 20 minutes from my home here in Manassas, Virginia. So, Carl, how did you wind up working with SES?
Well, I have a long history of working in the telecoms industry. Not long enough that I would go back to 1985 when SES was founded, but I do have some years under my belt. Many of those years in the telecom space was working for the vendor community. So that's companies that sell equipment and solutions to service providers that then actually deliver the connectivity value to consumers and businesses. And really, just as part of my professional evolution, I wanted to spend time in that service provider environment, a little bit closer to the end users of the technology, as it were. And so when the opportunity came along to work for SES, I jumped in with both feet. It's space after all.
Yeah. So and they're out of Luxembourg, right? But your bio, however, shows that you've spent some time with Ciena in the Asian Pacific region. I used to live in the Philippines when I was in the Navy. That company, Ciena, is a telecommunications leader. I guess it helped you with your work here at SES.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're all in a very real sense, we're the sum of our past experiences, right? So, working with Ciena, which is a telecommunications equipment
Mm-hmm.
vendor company, I mean, it helped me in a couple of different ways. But I think probably the most significant is that it gave me a chance to work with network operators really all around the world, not just in North America or Asia Pacific, and really gain a better understanding of their business
Mm-hmm.
models and how they choose to leverage technology to implement their go forward network architectures in support of those business models. And obviously, if you know Ciena, their focus is on fiber networking solutions, terrestrial networking. But now with SES, I'm able to bring perspective to our customers as to how next generation satellite technologies can work alongside or can augment terrestrial networks to form more of a hybrid
Yeah.
network that really maximizes reach and availability of the services. So I think these go forward network architectures are pretty important to get right as next generation applications take hold with cloud computing, IoT, 5G, and all of the digital applications that ride on top of that. So a lot of what I did with Ciena is examine those dynamics in a fiber networking context, and now I'm pretty much doing the same in a satellite communications context.
Well, the world is rolling out. All the telecommunications companies in the world are rolling out 5G, and this hybrid telecommunications environment that connects everything to the internet is really critical to any future, the future of any business. So, but you've been associated with cloud computing for quite a while, and cloud computing is kind of foundational, wouldn't you say? How did you get into cloud computing? Because it's just now that many of these communications providers are, you know, developing and deploying cloud native solutions.
Mm. So it came to me in a dream.
I love
No.
that.
So well, actually, I sort of already touched on, how did I get into cloud computing? And you're absolutely right. You're going to get technologies like 5G and that are establishing
Mm-hmm.
themselves, et cetera. And in many cases, it's about how do I get ubiquitous connectivity to the internet. But sort of another element to consider is it's also ubiquitous connectivity into the cloud. So cloud adoption isn't a new trend. It continues to grow for
Mm-hmm.
sure. First we have end users that are using more cloud applications and cloud services, and I think we all see this in our professional and our personal lives. But also from the perspective of a network operator, and SES is one
Yeah.
of those. For the past decade or so, we've been building networks differently. We've been using the cloud as an architectural template to build functionality that previously might have been dedicated boxes and devices, but now to simplify, they're essentially software images that are hosted in data centers. They're basically a cloud application or cloud implementation. So in both cases, whether it's for end user
Yeah.
services or for cloudified network architectures, the network needs to adapt to account for new scale, new traffic patterns. And I sort of say there's two things, right? One is connecting users into the cloud and also interconnecting the cloud points on
Right.
scale. And so to learn how to do that better, I had to spend several years understanding what cloud architectures look like, how the ecosystem of cloud providers work, and ultimately the best way to construct a network that underpins the cloud. And if I can paraphrase Bob Marley, no network, no cloud.
that's for sure. But SES has been providing, like you said, satellite communication services for quite a while, and 85 is like 3 centuries ago in satellite years. But you today you partner with 7 out of the top 10 global telecom companies, and you support 58 government organizations. And this is what gets me. You provide connectivity, internet connectivity, to 4 of the world's 6 major cruise lines and broadcasters. You broadcast today to over 1 billion TV viewers worldwide. I mean, your footprint in the middle of the ocean, that's great. That's a very impressive reach. So how is SES expanding this entrenched position in the satellite market to address the cloud computing opportunity?
Well, I mean, obviously, our customers that we serve today and have served for a while, those customers, those end user communities, they're obviously adopting cloud and adopting digital projects that depend on the cloud. So one sort of vector of growth for us, obviously, is we're underpinning more and more cloud applications, even within our same market segments that we had served, for some time now. So previously, when a satellite connection might have just been a broadband connection or maybe a path to the internet, now that connection is in many cases now, a wide area connection from edge cloud applications into regional or core cloud applications. So our connections are being used in increasingly more of a cloud context. As part of expanding, our entrenched position, beyond building on the existing customer bases and supporting digital transformations there, we're seeing more ecosystem plays. I mean, we're participating in more ecosystem plays. So we've formed some strategic partnerships with major cloud service providers. We've publicly announced Microsoft, AWS, but there are some other ones that you would recognize where we've got some partnerships on how to more elegantly connect into their environments and domains and bring customer cloud traffic directly into those domains for the best user experience. And in other cases, it's working with some more vertically integrated solutions integrators. So people that can assemble network infrastructure plus cloud infrastructure plus digital infrastructure and applications for more of a turnkey solution for powering digital transformation projects. And so we've announced a couple of partnerships with some of those actors as well. So I would say really the answer is in summary twofold, right? The first one is our customers are doing cloud motions. SES itself as a company is doing cloud motions, and our customers are as well. So we're adapting our portfolio and our service offerings to account for that dynamic. And the second one is we're integrating ourselves more into the ecosystem of actors that ultimately provide these digital solutions, these cloud-hosted solutions. All of that, I think, is opening up great opportunity for SES.
Oh, wow. It is, really surprising that your business has really focused on areas where you wouldn't think there's a lot of service, like island nations and cruise liners, in the middle of the ocean. These seems to me to be very unique use cases that you're able to support with your cloud, satellite-based cloud solution. So how do you work with your customers in Micronesia or on the Galapagos Islands, or if I'm in the one of the Princess Cruise Liner, how does that work?
So first, it's probably helpful to kind of draw a distinction between a couple of types of services that SES offers. I mean, because of who we are, what we do, and we can pretty much see the whole planet with our networking infrastructure. And there is a significant amount of what we do, which is effectively closing digital divides, right? This is bringing connectivity where connectivity just didn't really exist, maybe more on a consumer basis. Helping telcos and MNOs extend their networks into underserved areas, helping light up areas like the Galapagos, right, and give them broadband connections to really change somebody's experience when they're even in that most remote of areas. Digital inclusion and social inclusion projects. That's a big part of what SES does. And, my personal comment on that is this is one of those things that feels really good for me working for SES, is the ability to help close that digital divide. In the context of today, though, there's another set of or another class of connectivity services we deliver, which are really much more towards industrial operations. So these are industrial operations that are doing pretty intensive digital projects, but they may be in difficult to reach places, oil and gas rigs that might be on the high seas. commercial shipping fleets that might be navigating, across the globe, airplanes, and basically anything that flies or floats. There's really kind of no other way to talk to it,
Right.
other than a satellite connection. So there's another class of services that we deliver, which are much more industrial or enterprise focused. So let me highlight a little bit of the use cases there with our cloud solutions, because that's really where they apply most. So I'll give some examples of projects that we've been involved in. I'll start with maybe a commercial shipping example. So moving forward through the course of the next decade, the International Maritime Organization is going to start mandating some energy efficiency targets for vessels over a certain tonnage. Meet those efficiency targets or basically get fined. So fleets are thinking, how do I use technology? How do I use IoT and maybe cloud-hosted analytics to gain better understanding on the operations of the ship and how I can optimize my processes to optimize my fuel consumption. And this includes things like, linking into global data sets like weather patterns that can help also plan optimal routing, which certainly can impact a more efficient fuel consumption. So that's an example of, a use case where cloudification is being applied in a commercial environment, one that we serve, in order to gain some business goals and effectively help meet those emerging energy efficiency targets. I mentioned oil and gas rigs as another example.
They're in the middle of the ocean too.
Very highly instrumented rigs and platforms. You're talking about tens of thousands, 100,000 plus sensors and devices, and they can collect an awful lot of raw data. Oceanic data, seismic data, environmental data, which by itself is just not that useful. So typically what energy companies want to do is they want to take that data volume and upload it into big data handling engines, which are hosted in the cloud. Then create metadata sets and geospatial metadata sets that then can be fed back into the sites, and that can really aid in terms of much more targeted exploration and much more targeted extraction. Ultimately, what that drives is better yields for the resources that are being extracted, and much greener operations, which is top of mind for just about everybody.
Wow, it's amazing.
If you'll permit me, there's maybe one more example I'll share with you. This one is less about a commercial sector, maybe more in the public sector. And this is something that we've done with some of our ecosystem partners, some disaster response applications, because with satellite, we can apply connectivity in what's known as an on-the-pause model. So there literally would be a mobile truck configured that has satellite uplinks, but also the truck would carry on board edge compute resources and private 5G capability. And that can lead then to the responders that might go to a disaster site having, comms connections right there locally, for any devices they may be carrying, but also any wearables they may have for IoT sensors or video cameras. And with that connectivity bubble, then that really promotes man-to-man on-site communications for more efficient responses, but also site to headquarters for better command and control of the response activity. And further, when you use the the cloud as a communications platform, something like Microsoft Teams, then this also promotes the right resiliency and availability of site-to-cloud communication. So all of that coming together, really is a very powerful tool to throw at a disaster response scenario. With SES, our role obviously is to create that wide area network connection that has the right reach, the right performance to allow all of these cloud-based applications to function well, no matter where they are.
Wow, I want to pull some more on that string with respect to disaster recovery efforts. I understand your O3B Empower service is key to that. In fact, I had the opportunity to watch your launch on Sunday, just a few days ago. So, how does this capability really address disaster recovery efforts? Because if a lot of your customers are actually islands, the threat caused by global warming is really top of mind for them. And I actually run an operation for the National DigiFoundry, and we have a work group built around improving climate change related disaster response by using things like blockchain and digital assets, which of course layer on top of cloud computing. This makes it a very particular interest to me. Could you share any additional specific examples about how O3B Empower is useful in disaster response scenarios?
Sure. I'll preface it all with O3B Empower is our next generation of medium Earth orbit satellites, and it really delivers, I think, a huge step function in the capacity and the performance and capability of the bandwidth that can be delivered over satellite. It can now deliver capacities that essentially approximate fiber in the sky. So it really is a very capable wide area network connection, which is one of the things that helps some of these use cases really do cloud and digital adoption, because you have the quality of connection that can do that now. So I've already touched a little bit on a first responder scenario for satellite connections extending private 5G connections, and actually that was for an island nation. It was for the response agencies in Taiwan, which is very much subject to typhoon climate issues as well as seismic events. So there's a number of different scenarios where a first responder agency, really needs the best tools at their disposal. Another example that we're working on now involves wildfire responses. In this case, it's not so much connected people, that may be part of the response, but maybe connected drones. So connected via a 5G bubble that pulls in the sensory information and video information that might be coming from the drones that are flying around a wildfire event, taking that information and backhauling it over a high-performance satellite link, like what Empower would offer, and then feed that environmental data into a high-performance computing grid that can do rapid simulations of the course or the trajectory of a fire and guide not only the response teams, but also guide evacuation responses. And, think fairly recently how that sort of a solution might have impacted the recent wildfire response that happened in Hawaii. There would have been more lives saved, there would have been more property saved. So we're working with some ecosystem partners on setting that up, and hopefully that becomes a productized capability that can be made available to responding agencies.
Wow, there are some.
One more example, if I could, I guess. Here in the United States, we worked with one of the major cloud service providers that their job wasn't really to be first responders to the event itself, to the climate event, but how to restore capability locally. And in this case, enterprise services and cloud capability locally. So again, using medium Earth orbit connectivity, like what Empower would deliver, this cloud service provider was able to stand up edge compute and modular edge compute capabilities within the affected area, link those back to their core cloud over the high-performance satellite link, and really get some of their enterprise-grade cloud services back and running so that businesses could start operating again in the affected area. Wow. So that was a little bit different, but still another example of space-enabled digital deployments that can improve disaster response, and of course those digital deployments can certainly include functions like blockchain and feature other digital assets like what you were mentioning you focused on.
This really changes how you think about a telecommunications infrastructure, because especially in disaster recovery, a lot of times everyone's talking about we lost this cell tower, or how do we bring a cell on wheels? But here you are with O3B Empower with the ultimate cell tower sitting up in mid-Earth orbit. This is awesome, and this really helps in digital transformations. Globally, those opportunities that you said for different companies to really change, especially the ocean liners. Those are really impressive. Are the companies thinking more about the high bandwidth space connectivity as opposed to the Earth-based terrestrial towers?
Yes, they are, but the caveat there, I don't think is as opposed
Okay,
to.
so blend.
Um, I think what we tend to see is digital transformation projects can now be executed where it really wasn't possible before because of limitations of the network. And digital transformations really are powered by the cloud, and there's no network, no cloud. That means if you didn't have a good network, you really didn't stand a chance to really execute on digital transformation projects. Kind of in some of these remote or on the move sites. You know, when I think about what Empower
Yeah.
does in terms of helping our customers execute on their transformations, it's always helpful for me to say that there's a layered hierarchy of capability here. The digital transformations, the way I think about them is that they're a way to leverage a basket of technologies. Ultimately, that when you assemble them, they drive business outcomes as ways people can save money or make money. And that basket of technologies these days includes things like virtualization, includes 5G, IoT, it includes new visualization techniques that we see, augmented and virtual reality. Digital twinning is a pretty hot topic these days. We encounter a lot. But also, some of these technologies are about data handling and data handling on scale, right? Big data engines, analytic engines, machine learning, and of course, the big buzzword these days is AI. And again, these technologies are largely implemented and deployed from the cloud, and the cloud depends on a network, right? And the network really has to do two things, I think, and do them very well. First, it needs to be able to connect anywhere to the cloud, so that no matter where you are one hop away from the cloud. But it also needs to be able to extend the cloud to anywhere. And so this aligns a lot with distributed cloud architectures and the trend towards more and more edge computing and edge cloud instances, even right out to the most remote sites, like the ones that are served by SES's connections.
Wow.
So, if the network needs to then serve that cloud very well, then it has to do things like scale up. It has to do things like provide ubiquitous reach, ubiquitous access. It has to be able to network east to west, as they say in cloud world, right? So being able to network in a symmetrical fashion from the edge all the way up to the core, or push information from the core all the way out to the edge. It has to really drive and deliver on enterprise or carrier grade cloud connections. These cannot be best effort connections. And it has to have a level of dynamic behavior to effectively do what I call follow the workload, right? Everything happens in the cloud based on workloads, and workloads can be instantiated and released dynamically. They can be replicated for load balancing and resiliency reasons. They're highly dynamic, and the network has to match the dynamics of workload instantiation and placement. So we need a network that kind of lives and breathes to be able to follow the workload. All of that is just, the base requirements of a network. And in satellite world in previous years, that was a little difficult to hit those targets, those requirements. But here I think is where Empower is a game changer for the industry and for SES, because the agility, the scale, the programmability of this satellite fleet really can deliver on those key requirements and be an enabler then for the digital transformation projects that our customers are interested in taking on.
Wow. No network, no cloud. I mean, you've changed my life. Bob Marley and SES are going to be forever linked in my mind. It was so great to learn more about SES and the MEO-based services. So we're coming to the end of our time here, but how could the audience find out more about this sort of revolutionary leap in satellite-based connectivity?
Well, the obvious place, of course, is to start, would be to visit our website, ses.com, and then there's a /O3B Empower, and you can learn more about the technology. You can see how our customers are leveraging it. We've got a really cool little visualization app that sort of shows you how it works and gives you a much more visual experience on how Empower is revolutionizing connectivity really across the various industry segments we serve. So absolutely start there.
Jeez, this was an amazing interview. So thank you very much, Carl, for spending the time and to open our minds. No network, no cloud. So in closing, I would like to really invite everyone to check out the wide variety of industry thought leadership like this that we present here at supplychainnow.com. And you can find Digital Transformers and Supply Chain Now wherever you get your podcasts. So be sure to subscribe. So on behalf of the entire team here at Supply Chain Now, this is Kevin L. Jackson wishing all of our listeners a bright and transformational future. We'll see you next time on Digital Transformers. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you for supporting Digital Transformers and for being a part of our global Supply Chain Now community. Please check out all of our programming at supplychainnow.com. Make sure you subscribe to Digital Transformers anywhere you listen to or view the show, and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time on Digital Transformers. Welcome to Digital Transformers, the show that connects you with what you need to build, manage, and operate your digital supply chain. Join your host in a timely discussion on new and future business models with industry-leading executives. The show will reveal global customer expectations, real-world deployment challenges, and the value of advanced business technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and robotic process engineering. And now, we bring you Digital Transformers.
Hello, everyone. This is Kevin L. Jackson, and welcome to Digital Transformers on Supply Chain Now. Today, we're getting ready for the AT&T Secure Connections event. This virtual event will be held on November 8th, 2023, and will feature the AT&T security team with a diverse group of security visionaries. And we have the honor and pleasure of having one of those visionaries right here on the show, AT&T Chief Information Security Officer, Rich Bosch. Hey, welcome to the show, Rich.
Hey, Kevin. Nice to meet you.
No, thank you. You know what? We have a lot in common just looking at your bio. I couldn't help but notice some of the similarities. I'm Naval Academy class of 79, War College class of 91, shouldn't say that too loud, and served in the NRO for 3 years. Please share more about your illustrious career.
Sure. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, so I'll also had the opportunity to attend that fine institution down on the Severn River and graduated in the class of 1991. Then had the time in the military to serve in many different capacities as a surface warfare officer, as a cryptology officer, as an information warfare officer, and also part of the space cadre. And that time in the military really built a foundation around defense of our country, defense of networks. So would love the experience. But Kevin, I'd go back and do it again. Would you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would never have thought when I was flying on and off the carrier that I'd wind up doing cybersecurity. I mean, but it's really the leading edge, right? You talk about being at the point of the spear in today's world. Cyber is really it. Now, AT&T Business is a longtime sponsor of Digital Transformers, so we're always excited to showcase their leading executives. So how did you join AT&T? I understand you're pretty young there.
Yes, when it comes to the long-term culture at AT&T, there have been people that have been here 20, 30, and 40 years. And I recently joined, and I came to AT&T from my previous role where I was the Chief Information Security Officer and the Director of Cybersecurity for the Central Intelligence Organization. And I had the opportunity to switch over to AT&T. And one of my biggest reasons for that, Kevin, is this is the tip of the spear, right? AT&T is first contact when you start thinking about the cyber world. We are the first contact of the bits and bytes that transmit over the network. So it's a very important job and role, and something that AT&T obviously invests in and takes very seriously.
Well, I'm sure you got a lot of experience with protecting the world against the malevolent actors out there while you were at the CIA, but now you're serving as the CISO for a company with one of the largest global networks. So what keeps you up at night? Is it just as bad as when you were at the CIA?
Well, at the end of the day, when you think about it, if our networks, our telecommunications networks, aren't secure and aren't reliable, our ability to function as a civilization could become obviously severely degraded because of the dependencies that every piece of our critical infrastructure, our business world, and our daily lives depend upon that ability to have that reliable and secure medium that people depend on for all facets of their life.
Well, you mentioned your personal life and your work life. They're all merged today, and they merge on the network, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, think about this, Kevin. We've got cell phones. We have watches now that communicate. We've got Bluetooth in our clothing, right? We got our cars. Everything is communicating across the telecommunications infrastructure today, and is dependent upon that infrastructure being there, but even more importantly, also being secure.
Well, maybe we're overly connected, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And you've seen it from the viewpoint of multiple industries, I understand, and you actually wrote the book for CISO. So what's new and different as you settle in at AT&T?
The issues remain, consistent really across industries. It comes down primarily, the difference is the culture, right? And the tone from the top from the organization and the importance that they place. Good information security and cybersecurity really is risk management. It's providing data and truth associated with risk, and then taking that information and prioritizing it to try to mitigate those risks to an acceptable, kind of risk appetite. So, I mean, I think the biggest change is really the fact that AT&T's culture, as it relates to having a secure and reliable network, is different than in some cultures as far as what their risk appetite is when it comes to cybersecurity practices.
Well, this being October, it's Cybersecurity Month, and there's a real focus on training and understanding the human element when it comes to cybersecurity. How does that sort of link to culture or driven by culture?
Yeah. So, so first off, one of the weakest elements always is the human element. It will always remain the human element. And how that links to culture is, basically, taking the time to provide good security awareness and knowledge, not just about when you come to work, but also providing that information so that when you go home and you have good practices at home, it's not something different. You don't put a uniform on and come to work and all of a sudden be a different person. Cybersecurity is so intertwined with our daily lives. It's about helping individuals understand the risks associated with phishing and spam and smishing and all the different techniques that are utilized, and making them feel empowered, but also giving them the capability and the knowledge to be able to keep themselves safe online, irregardless of what environment they're in.
Well, it sounds like dealing with humans is a very important part of your job. So what is the core duty of the CISO? Is it different in public versus private sector? I think it's the same kind of humans.
Yeah, it's the same type of work, and again, this is my fifth time being a CISO,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's about figuring out each organization has a unique culture on how they operate. And it's how do you intertwine the disciplines associated with good cyber practices and hygiene to align with the organization and its mission and empower it, all right, and enable it to be able to deliver, whether it's services or whether it's mission, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all the same as far as what practices and what way we can go about identifying risks and mitigating those to help the organization achieve its mission or its business practice.
Well, I mean, you are a leader in the organization. So what is the role of a leader? I mean, yes, CISO is an executive, but the executive C-suite writ large. What is their job in this era?
I think the most important thing is to provide the information. I like to talk about it in the McKinsey threes, right? So
Okay.
first off, we need to know about what information that we need to go out to either collect or observe. We need to be able to get it in a very timely fashion. And then most importantly, we need to put it in a format in a very timely fashion in front of the right risk leaders so that they can make the best decision based on that truthful information and how it impacts the organization so they can prioritize budget and actions to ensure the organization can continue to meet its core values.
Yeah, well, I heard that you were big on truth telling when it comes to this area. In this world of fake news, is there fake cyber news that you have to protect the organization against?
So two types of when you talk about fake news. So first off is not every risk is the same for every organization. So understanding your network and the assets on your network so that when a vulnerability comes out, you can quickly say, do I have that technology, that software in my environment? A lot of times you don't, so it's not a concern, even though you need to worry about your third parties and your fourth parties that are
Right.
associated with it. And then as far as, fake news, you always got to be cautious today, especially in the world of artificial intelligence, that there could be some type of, information implanted in a message, whether that be in hardware, software, or even voice prints from a biometric standpoint to bypass, particular types of controls. So albeit not exactly fake news, but I'll
Yeah.
call it, fake data.
Okay, so we hear about a lot of opportunities in business, but I guess what you're saying, there are a lot of new threats out there as well. Um, the new technologies like quantum computing we hear a lot about, and artificial intelligence. It, is security different now? Has it changed the foundation of cybersecurity? The fundamentals, have they been modified in some way?
Yeah, so when it comes to like AI and quantum computing, it's not the science that is not what's the risk. It's the application, right? How
Okay.
does someone take the application of these two new disciplines and apply them and operationalize them? So for an example, an adversary today can utilize AI to, let's say, write a script that might usually take them 8 hours and might only take them 10 minutes now to do. But on the same side of that, as a defender, right, that I could potentially do the same thing, use artificial intelligence, let's just say, to eradicate or remediate some vulnerabilities in a much faster manner than I could through manual processes. So the risk is about the application of those sciences and not the actual science itself.
So I guess, from our military background, you have to get inside the decision loop. You got to be faster with that loop when it comes to the cyber attackers, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about, and oftentimes things like we talk about time to remediate,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's a new release of a vulnerability, right? A 0 day. Can you quickly identify if you have that vulnerability in your environment, and then can you mitigate the risk associated with that? And being able to measure your average time to remediate is a very important, aspect to, suggesting how mature your organization is when it comes to kind of the art of cybersecurity.
When we started talking, we talked a bit about how both our personal life and our business life are connected to the network. But it's a global network. How do you protect yourself and your work from all of those threats from literally everywhere? What is what is a network-based defense? How do you protect yourself?
Yeah, so it's really about risk management, Kevin.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it's really not about defense. Normally, when we think about defense, we think about it as binary, right? Good or
Mm-hmm.
bad. But the reality of it is the attack surface is so great that you have to be able to have the visibility and the transparency to understand your risks, understand what risks are forthcoming that may be released as a result of vulnerabilities, but also the different types of indications of compromise and TTPs that an adversary would utilize, and understanding those and putting into controls, but also taking it to another level, Kevin, to keep your defense analogy alive. There's now the opportunity to utilize like attack simulation, where you can actually take the different techniques that an adversary would utilize and simulate them in your environment to see how effective your controls are, so that you can help prioritize where your investments are on areas that you find weaknesses in. No different than a typical war game, Kevin, but
Yeah.
you're doing it internally from a bits and bytes standpoint.
So it sounds like if I'm a business or an executive in a business or a company, I need to have a partner that's helping me with respect to the network. Is that one, and is that an important role for a company like AT&T?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not just AT&T, but the reality of it is a good cybersecurity organization and an executive is helping a business understand their cyber risk. As you know, most businesses are connected to the internet one way or another,
Yeah.
and good business leaders understand risk management. But cyber professionals oftentimes get lost in a technology and a nomenclature, and they need to keep it very simple and easy for the business owner to understand. Here is your risk. Here's your risk with your third-party portfolio. Here is your risk with your infrastructure. And in the case of AT&T, hopefully it says, and this is your secure network experience that we can provide to you.
Wow. I mean, it's really protecting your business ecosystem across the network, because that's key to being safe. Well, I mean, I really appreciate all the insight and your time today. You really have provided a great viewpoint, but unfortunately, our time has come to an end. But how can the audience reach out to you if they have any questions? And before you leave, tell us a little bit about your book.
So my book, I wrote that, gosh, when I was much younger. I think it was back in like around 2004 timeframe, and it was called "Winning as a CISO."
Okay.
And basically, it's a leadership book geared towards helping CISOs run their business. Again, I was finishing up my MBA, and I thought a book that could help translate between business executives and technology executives would be good. So, Kevin, to show my age, it starts off with it's 2 a.m. and your pager's going off and you're driving into work thinking, why do I want to be a CISO as you have this virus infestation to deal with? But it talks about things like selling security, developing talent, choosing a framework. It's just very, very fundamental and foundational to, I think, being a good leader, irregardless, being a good C-level executive, just more focused on the disciplines in the cyber world.
Well, the thought processes are the same. So thank you very much. But in closing, I would like to really invite everyone to check out the wide variety of industry thought leadership that we have here at Digital Transformers and at Supply Chain Now. I tell you, you may want to also pick up that book or reach out to Rich so he can help you in setting your sights and being the leader you need to be as a CISO. So thank you. You can find Digital Transformers and Supply Chain Now wherever you get your podcast. So be sure to subscribe. On behalf of the entire team here at Supply Chain Now, this is Kevin L. Jackson wishing all of the listeners a bright and transformational future. We'll see you next time on Digital Transformers.
Thank you for supporting Digital Transformers and for being a part of our global Supply Chain Now community. Please check out all of our programming at supplychainnow.com. Make sure you subscribe to Digital Transformers anywhere you listen to or view the show, and follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time on Digital Transformers. Welcome to Digital Transformers, the show that connects you with what you need to build, manage, and operate your digital supply chain. Join your host in a timely discussion on new and future business models with industry-leading executives. The show will reveal global customer expectations, real-world deployment challenges, and the value of advanced business technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and robotic process engineering. And now, we bring you Digital Transformers.
Hello, everyone. It's Kevin L. Jackson of Digital Transformers. We're here on the road at Orlando at SAP Sapphire. Have the opportunity to meet some of their leading customers who have been leveraging S/4HANA in order to implement digital transformation in their companies. Clemencia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Oh, thanks for joining me here. Can you tell me a little bit about you?
I've been with 9dot a year exactly to the day, and it's been a wonderful journey with them and developing the entire finance function for them.
Wow, what prepared you for this? Where did you, you must have had a pretty successful career to get to where you are.
Thank you. I've had a lot of great opportunities. My career started in the typical accounting and finance space and moved into energy by accident, I say, and I'm purposefully staying in it now. So I had the pleasure of working with Brookfield most recently and was part of their digital transformation initiatives and worked with a lot of world-class collaborators and saw what it takes to create a greenfield space of technology and why it's important to not just the digital footprint, but for the operations of the organization.
How does this really been affected by the transition and move towards green energy with respect to your customers, the goals of the organization, and how you manage the finances?
Yeah, we're a purpose-driven industry, so we're lucky in that sense, but we are very complex. And even at a young stage like my organization, we're only a couple of years old, but we're small and complicated very quickly. And what we need is to really start to build a foundation for growing that organization and having tools that help us with agility and scalability that will prepare us to go from a team of 10 to a team of 50, and how to use people in a smart way, where they can add value and really leverage the automation capabilities that exist with products like S4HANA.
So your business model must be to be really intimate with your customers and clients. How, and you leverage S4HANA from SAP for that. How does it help you in that area?
I think being able to have really reliable data that we can call upon and have comfort and confidence when we speak with customers and give them visibility and transparency into what we're doing for them, how we're doing it. And finance is my area of expertise. So knowing that I am 100% sure in the reliability of what we're giving them and what they're ultimately looking for us is really helpful in developing that relationship with them, especially in early stages when we're just meeting them for the first time.
Well, you said you have a very, complex, and it sounds really complex of what you're doing, but you must have a lot of partners that you work with. How does this sort of fold into your digital transformation plan?
We are lucky that we have so much support right now in the government space and in the policy space. There's also still a lot of questions. And so having the ability to use something that's very agile when we have guidance from the government at X, but tomorrow can be Y, or maybe it's Y.1.2.
Yeah, the government doesn't really tend to not change. They change things often, don't they?
They do. And so I feel really good that we're building a foundation in the finance area that we can pivot if we need to, but we're still using best-in-class standard solutions out of the box that aren't going to require a high level of customization later to meet our needs. And so for me, that's important because I know that I can take my team and we can be self-reliant in a way, having those partners that help us get there and that help us continue to move, but that we're not stuck with a product that won't be able to move with us.
You mentioned government. The first thing that popped in my mind is compliance. Because if you're working with anything that has to do with the government, the very first thing they're going to ask is, how are you compliant with X, Y, Z? I can imagine in the financial space that could be nerve-wracking.
Absolutely. I think for me, that's one of the reasons that complexity stands out in my space, because it's complexity in compliance, it's complexity in transactions, it's complexity in execution. So when you are dealing with that many variables, it's so important to be able to have a reliable framework and backbone of the organization to be able to drive the business that you're trying to do for the purpose that you're trying to do it, to get the customer's needs met that you're ultimately trying to do at the end of the day.
So this must actually mean a lot with respect to your relationship with SAP and how you leverage S4HANA. When changes come down the pike, how does that affect your use of the software and your relationship with SAP? Is it something that causes friction? I can imagine.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, because I think the partnership with SAP is super important. I think mutually we understand that we need different things, but we need to come together and communicate at the right time with the right cadence. And so communication is very important to me with both SAP and our external third-party partners that also help us with implementing the different products that we're looking at for the organization. So there can be friction, but I think having that well-established line of communication and knowing that we're in it together is really what helps us drive forward and kind of prevent those hiccups. And when the hiccups come up, you work through them.
Yeah, like I said, it's as long as you have a partner that you can work with, it seems like no challenge is really insurmountable.
I agree. That's very core to who 9 is as well. We are a team environment, and I think anything that you approach with that mentality, and we do that with SAP, with any other partners that we work with very closely, it's not a one-man show, and so it's really it takes the partnerships that we've developed and cultivated to get us to what we need to do.
From a geographic point of view, where does NonDot operate?
We're New York centered, so
Okay.
all of our projects right now at the moment in pipeline is in New York City. We're urban focused, and one of the leaders in New York City right now with energy storage products and projects that are hopefully coming online in the coming years. So it's a long-term investment and commitment to the city of New York, and I'm very proud of that, living in the city and knowing a little bit more when I turn on my lights what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I used to live in Manhattan for a while and worked on at J.P. Morgan Chase, right? So I really enjoyed living in the city, to be honest. But that's very high pace, and New York is actually known for leaning forward in in energy. Is that a very high stress business environment that you're operating in? They must expect a lot from you.
It can be it can be stressful, and it's stressful because there's so many components to what we're doing, and I guess back to the partnership point of view, we have so many different partners, both within ourselves, within the city of New York, external to New York, private, public sector individuals that we work with. So the pace is fast. But we are very centered in the values that we have at the organization, and we like to think that we are kind of the innovators in the space for the city, and it's a driver for a lot of the people that I work with and work alongside. So it makes the pace a little more bearable.
Do you consider yourself a born in the cloud company, or?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had the pleasure of seeing what that looks like in an organization. We had a greenfield space. So I'm driving that conversation in the organization and really posing a lot of questions to how we want to do things and how we want to innovate. Obviously in the finance space, that's where we're starting, and that's a very logical place. We went from nothing to SAP, and it can be a little jarring if you are not used to that type of structured environment and tools and partners to work with. But I think that everybody's been very open and receptive to seeing what does digital mean for NonDot, and it's a journey that we're on right now.
It's continuous journey.
Continuous journey.
People
yes.
Say. So last night I was at a reception and somebody asked me, when someone says SAP, what do you think? And one of the first things that sort of jumped in my mind was complexity. But if you're working a complex business like you are, you kind of need that complexity.
Yeah, I think I share that. I do think when I think SAP, complexity is a common word, but we're used to it at NonDot, I suppose. So to me, it was comforting, and knowing that we are putting in hard work at the front end and at the beginning to then get to reliable, repeatable processes that will then allow the people that I work with think big and to focus on the ideas and the value outside of what the day-to-day is and continue to enhance.
So as a born in the cloud company, what does digital transformation mean to you? You're not going from, a paper and pencil environment, the legacy type of platform. Many people think digital transformation is about going from legacy to some new world, but what does it mean to you? I mean, you're clearly doing it.
It's maybe the better term for us is digital formation.
Okay, that's better. I like that term.
I think it's we're lucky that we're not having to go from something to something else. It's also hard to do that because now you're also combining something that's very tangible and execution focused with the ideas, and it's a marriage of those two things of being able to have the vision of what you want to build in the organization and knowing that you have a lot of freedom, but having the framework in place that you're going to be able to use to create something from nothing and really leverage it to scale and to be agile as you're trying to build a company as well.
So does the structure that SAP sort of overlays your ideas and your vision, do you feel that, restricting in any way or restrictive, or is it sort of like a framework, a template that helps you do things better and faster?
I like the idea of a framework as a way to describe it, because that's really what it offers us. And with so much ambiguity, when there's nothing, having something to lay down and work around
Right.
is useful and helpful to not only the people in the finance function, but to the whole team at 9 who is really, we're relying on each other to be experts in our space. And so having SAP help us be good at what we are doing gives us a bit of a relief in the day-to-day.
So they truly are a partner to you.
They are.
Okay. So what would be your recommendation for another company, maybe in the energy field or in another industry vertical, that are trying to maybe transform from a legacy platform in order to become all digital? What would be your suggestion to them?
I would say to really start with understanding what your purpose is for your organization.
Okay.
What are you trying to accomplish?
A goal.
What's your goal? Exactly. Who do you want to be when you grow up, and who can help you get there? And really understanding what type of partner you need is key, because there's a lot of solutions in the space, and there's a lot of different industries. For the energy industry specifically, because we're so complex, having a solid framework that is very out of the box focused, while still allowing you the flexibility to use when you're young in your lifetime of the org is important, because it brings you a sense of where you can get to and a path that you can follow at different stages. So understanding that if you are already big, then that you're going to stay big likely. But if you're an organization like mine, like 9, where you're starting very small and hope to become very large, having the foresight to know what those different stages are going to look like and what you'll need is going to be really important to make sure that you're choosing the right cloud partners, the right implementation partners, and asking yourself the right questions as a business of what you need and when you're going to need it.
This may be a little, I guess, off script, but many people that try to go to the cloud, the big issue is not the technology or really the business, but it's the people. Shift in a mindset. Did you notice this, or as you were trying to, adopt, or not really adopt, but formation, digital formation?
Yeah, I've seen it where I am now. I've seen it in my last roles, and it's really combining the technology, people, and process together. And you can't ignore any one of those three from the triangle. And I do think that understanding your people and where they're coming from helps you guide the conversation how it needs to go. I'm working with individuals that have never done any sort of digital transformation, so making sure that I have that foresight and that I build patience amongst the team is important. So that they have an ability to know what's coming when, and that it's not all going to happen overnight. And also focusing on what are our processes. It's not the tool that's going to solve all of our business complexities. It's going to help us to then overcome those complexities through additional processes and putting in opportunities for us to build new ways to do things. So thinking outside the box, like 9 likes to do.
That's what it is,
That's exactly. It's thinking outside the box is what helps us really leverage all three of those things together. But I appreciate you bringing that up, because the technology is paramount, but without the people and without the processes in place, it could be the best solution and it doesn't work well.
Wow, I love your vision and your enthusiasm for what is obviously a difficult task and difficult job. So, in wrapping up, how can the audience, learn more about NonDot and maybe even reach out to you and learn more about how you have managed to accomplish these feats?
Yeah, absolutely. I welcome everyone to visit our webpage and to reach out that way. And I'm always, the beauty of being small is every message gets to you. So happy to take any questions. And I do love talking about it because I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you get through it. And it builds camaraderie amongst your team. So it's a beautiful way to do it.
But thank you very much for coming by and spending the time in what obviously is a very busy week.
Absolutely.
So
thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Learn more about NonDot by visiting their website. And I guess you're on LinkedIn?
That's right. I'm on LinkedIn as well.
And check out Comencia on LinkedIn. With that said, thank you very much for joining us on Digital Transformers. And we'll see you at our next opportunity to talk to a digital transformation or digital formation leader. Have a great day.
Thank you for supporting Digital Transformers and for being a part of our global Supply Chain Now community. Please check out all of our programming at supplychainnow.com. Make sure you subscribe to Digital Transformers anywhere you listen to or view the show. And follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. See you next time on Digital Transformers.